So here's our little tier list here. Boys, hold on. Let me resize my face quickly. Hold up. We have every agent in Valorant. Yes, every single one. And today we're going to be putting them in a tier list. It looks like they're organized alphabetically. Maybe? No, they're not. They're definitely not. A, B, C, D. I think they are, actually. We're organizing them, rating them. You guys know how tier lists work. All right. So I'm going to be ranking these agents based on how good they are. I don't know about competitively. I'm not a competitive Valorant player. I'm just saying how good they are in pubs, in my crappy plat lobbies. All right. This is how good they are. All right. Starting off with Breach. Breach is good on one map, Fracture, but he is very good on that map. Like in every single pro match where Fracture is the map, Breach is picked. So Breach, I think, has to go B tier. B for Breach, you know? Next is Brimstone. Brimstone honestly has the best smokes in the game right now because Astra got so nerfed. Like Astra, we have a special place for Astra. She might deserve her own tier later, but I think Brim is solidly in the A tier right now. He would be F, but they nerfed his stimmy, so I think he gets bumped down to A for that. Next up is Cipher. Cypher. I've been playing Cipher a lot lately because I think Cypher's just pretty good, to be honest. Like, he's a really good agent, in my opinion. Cypher's either an A or a B. I think we're gonna put him A because he's pretty unique. Like, yeah, Chamber does some of the stuff he does, but Cypher has the camera. The camera is an S tier ability, honestly, on its own, but I think we'll put him A because, like, there aren't very many agents that are S, to be honest. Also, his cages are kind of useless if you don't have, like, lineups and you don't know how to use them, so A tier seems like a good spot. Next up is Jet. Jet is S tier. Jet needs a nerf. I don't think they're gonna nerf Jet because she's the poster child of the game. Dash is stupid. Jumps are balanced. Smokes are stupid. Like, Jet is just stupid, all right? Jet is dumb. I think we can all agree. S tier Jet. Fine. All right, next up, we have Killjoy. Killjoy is weird. Like, Killjoy is kind of like Cypher, but, like, better in a lot of ways. I think she's a solid A tier agent. She's kind of, like, interchangeable with Cypher. Every team pretty much either needs a Cypher. What? I can't speak English. Every team either needs a Cypher or a Killjoy. Next up is Omen. Omen is still not great. Omen's smokes just aren't good enough to compete at any level as a smoke. You almost need 2 smokes when you play Omen because Omen's smokes are just kind of for him, not for anyone else. My chat's saying B. I'm gonna have to go C with Omen. He was D tier last act. They did buff him a little. I think making the smokes a little bit faster was enough to push him up to C tier, but he's still not great. Next up is the worst agent in the game, Phoenix, D tier. I think Phoenix right now is just not viable whatsoever. Like, just not at all. Like, every single duelist does it better. I guess he's viable. He's viable. You could use him. I almost want to bump him up to C tier for that, but I think D tier is the right spot because this agent really needs to be changed. Like, all of his abilities, just people do it better. Every single person does every single Phoenix ability better. All right, next up we have Raze. Raze, she's another A tier, I think. A tier for Raze. The reason Raze is A tier is because you can use her abilities to clear corners and initiate, like, a bomb plant so easily. Like, even in all elos, I remember when Raze was released at the beginning of the game, people were like, oh, she's not going to be good in competitive. That was very wrong. She's great in competitive. A tier Raze. Next up, Reyna. I think Reyna's going to be B tier because if you go off with Reyna, she's amazing. If you don't go off with Reyna, you suck and you're a waste of space. So I think middle of the road, B tier is good. Her dismiss is good. Obviously, her abilities are amazing if you get kills, but you have to get kills, so middle of the road. Very skill reliant right there. Next up is Sage. This is probably the hardest one to place on the list, in my opinion. I think Sage is B tier. She's not quite an A with these other agents just because Skye pretty much is a better Sage, but you have to pick Sage on split because you wall mid every round. Like, that's just a must. Her heal, when they nerfed her heal, it was over for Sage. The wall is still really good, especially on pistol round, but, like, when they nerf Sage's heal and they make it so you only get, like, 60 health back or whatever, it's just not worth it anymore. Skye is just so much better. Skye up next. We're gonna put Skye in S tier because S is for Skye, you know? You gotta, like, match up the letter with the agent's first letter, you know? That's just kind of how it works. Only joking, of course, but really, Skye is S tier. Flashes are the best in the game. Her heal is the best in the game. Her ult is pretty solid for initiating a push. She's just a really good agent. Same with Sova. Like, all of Sova's abilities are very good. Like, his ult, if you can hit someone with your recon dart and then ult, that's, like, an insane combo. If you, like, spend a lot of time sweating this game, you can memorize lineups. That's amazing. So, yeah, Sova almost does need a nerf, but I think he's good for the game because he's high skill, high reward. Next up is Viper. Viper and Brim, I feel like, are interchangeable. I feel like every team runs Viper. There's also, like, a lot of skill there with the lineups, and her little smoke is good for stuff, but she also did get nerfed in the recent patch, so she's between an A and a B. She's, like, right on the border. I think we're gonna bump her up to A because she's better than Breach, she's better than Reyna, she's better than Sage, so we're gonna bump her up to an A. I think A is the right spot for her. Now, this is probably my most controversial opinion here. We have Yoru. Yoru. So, he was D tier. He was obviously the worst agent in the game. They did buff him. Yeah, he's better, but I still don't think he's good. Like, he was amazing S tier for the first couple of days when people couldn't figure out his fake, but now people have pretty much figured it out. It's just really hard to be good with Yoru. So he's between between a B and a C. He's low B, high C. But I think Omen needs a friend down here. So C tier it is. Now, no one really runs Astra anymore, especially in pubs. But in pro matches, she's actually being picked quite a bit still because the fact that Brim can only smoke in a certain area. I don't know. Astra's a hard one to place because she's bad. She's also between a B and a C. I think I'm going to round her up to B tier because you can still use her smokes all over the map. She's still really good for retake. She's really good on Ascent. Like, Ascent is her best map. Breeze Viper's really the only good smoke. I think Astra's going to get B tier just because she's good on Ascent. KO probably has the second best flashes in the game compared to Sky up here. KO is not as good as Sky, though. He's pretty good. A lot of people would argue S. I'm going to say A just because he's very high skill, high reward. His knife is insane. His ult's pretty good. He can stop a push and initiate a push by himself just by blocking abilities. Basically turns the game to CSGO. Chamber. My chat says S. I do not say S. I think I disagree with you there, chat. I think Chamber is another A tier because, like, Cypher strips are better in my opinion. His sniper ability is just an op. His revolver is a better deagle. Like, he's almost S. He's, like, probably the best agent in A here. He's, like, up here with Brim. He's up here with KO. But if I'm keeping KO out of S, I also have to keep Chamber out of S. And finally, Neon. Our last agent, she's gonna go B tier because she's great. Like, she's good for fast rotates, but she's not good for much else, to be honest. Like, she's just not really competitively viable. She's kind of like a noob player. Like, if you're smurfing in iron lobbies, you play Neon because the noobs are not gonna hit your shots, and they're not gonna hit their shots on you. So I think she's like a great, like, noob stomper, you know? Noob tube.